Hello everyone, this is Soumya from the Department of ECE, and here we are to discuss the VLSI design. As per BTU, you need to refer the textbooks Basic VLSI Design by Douglas, Bucknell and Cumrun, which is of third edition. Second text is CMOS VLSI Design, a Circuits and Systems Perfective by Neil Weste, and FPGA based system design by Wayne Wolf, Pearson Education 2004, Technology and Engineering. The first module here, which gives a brief history, MOS transistors, MOS transistor theory, ideal IV characteristics, non-ideal IV characteristics, DC transfer characteristics, and the fabrication includes NMOS fabrication, CMOS fabrication, which includes P-well process, N-well process, twin-tip process, and also BIMOS technology. So we'll start with the module 1. The first integrated circuit, that is we call it as IC, was flip-flop with two transistors built by Jack Kilby at Texas Instruments in the year 1958. In the year 2008, Intel's Itanium microprocessor contained more than 2 billion transistors, and a 16 GB flash memory contained more than 4 billion transistors. So, in the range of over 50 years, the growth rate was about 53%. This growth rate has come from steady miniaturization of transistors and improvements in manufacturing processes. As the transistors become smaller, they also become faster, dissipate less power, and got cheaper to manufacture. During the first half of 20th century, electronic circuits used large, expensive, uh, power-hungry, and unreliable vacuum tubes. But in 1947, the John Bardeen and Walter Brattain built the first functioning point contactor transistor at Bell Laboratories. In 1947, as we know, the John Bardeen and Walter Brattain built the first functioning point contact transistor at Bell Laboratories, and it was introduced by the Bell Lab and named it as transistor because it is a transistor or semiconductor device which can amplify electrical signal as they are transferred through it from input to the output terminals. But later on, Jack Kilby at Texas Instruments, after 10 years, normally realized the potential for miniaturization if multiple transistors can be built on one piece of silicon. So the first prototype of an IC is constructed from a germanium slice and gold wires. So the transistors are electrically controlled switches with a control terminal and two other terminals that are connected or disconnected depending on the voltage or current applied to the control. So after the invention of point contact transistor, Bell Labs developed the bipolar junction transistor, we call that as BJTs, which were more reliable, less noisy, and more power efficient. In the earlier stages, the integrated circuits were mainly bipolar transistors, which required a small current into the control, we call that as base, and base terminal, to which much larger currents between the other two terminals, which are named as emitter and collector. So the problem seen with bipolar junction transistors were the power dissipated by the base current, which is limited the maximum number of transistors that can be integrated onto a single die. Then in 1960 came metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistors. We call that as MOSFETs. The advantages of MOSFETs were that they draw almost zero control current while they are in idle condition. So it was available in two forms as NMOS and PMOS using N-type and P-type silicon respectively. In 1963, the first logic gates were built using MOSFETs was introduced at Fairchild. It includes gates which used both NMOS and PMOS transistors. This gave the name complementary metal oxide semiconductor or CMOS. And these circuits were used discrete transistors but consumed only nanowatts of power, which was about 6 times lesser than bipolar transistors. The MOS integrated circuits became very popular because of their low cost. Each transistor occupied less area and the fabrication process was very simpler compared to other ICs. In early commercial process, used only PMOS transistors, but it suffered from poor performances. Uh, uh, Yield and reliability were also very poor. So later on, processors started using NMOS transistor, and it became the common in 1970s. Even though NMOS process was less expensive, compared to CMOS, NMOS logic gates consumed power while they were idle. But the power consumption became a major issue in 1980s as hundreds of thousands of transistors were integrated onto a single die. So the CMOS processes were widely adopted and have essentially replaced NMOS and bipolar processes for nearly all digital logic applications. In 1965, Gordon Murray observed that plotting the number of transistors that can be most economically manufactured on a chip gives a straight line on a semi logarithmic scale. Also, he found transistor count doubling every 18 months. This observation has been called Moore's law. So in the figure, you can observe that how the transistors in Intel processors has grown. So this figure shows the number of transistors in Intel microprocessors has doubled every 26 months since the invention of 4004, which is the first uh, IC. So the Moore's law is based on scaling down the size of transistors, which is very important, and to same extent building larger chips. So to some extent, it is going to build a larger chips, which involves scaling down the size of transistors. So here we can see the level of integrations, where the process of integration can be classified as small, medium, large, and very large. So here the small scale integration, we call that as SSI. Here the number of components are less than 10 in every package. The logic gates like inverters, AND gates, OR gates, and etc. are the products of SSI. The second thing is the medium scale integration, which is standardly known as MSI, and it has a completely complexity of. Then comes the medium scale integration, which is MSI. These devices has complexity of 10 to 100 electronic components in a single package. We are knowing about the decoders, adders, counters, multiplexers, all come under the medium scale integration MSI. Then comes the large scale integration LSI. The products of LSI contain between 100 to 10,000 electronic components in a single package. For this large scale integrated integration, we are having the examples of memory modules, IO controllers, and 4-bit microprocessor systems. Later on, we'll go for the very large scale integration, which is called as our subject, that is VLSI. The devices that are results of VLSI contain between 10,000 and 3 lakh electronic components. The example here are 8-bit microprocessors, 16-bit microprocessors, and 32-bit microprocessor systems. So the feature size of a CMOS manufacturing process refers to the minimum dimension of transistor that can be reliably built. The 4004 had a feature size of 10 micron in 1971, whereas the Core 2 Duo had a feature size of 45 nanometer in 2008. Feature sizes specified in microns, that is 10 to the power of minus 6 milli, while the smaller feature sizes are expressed in nanometers. This was about the introduction to the VLSI, how the IC has got into the manufacturing unit and how they came into the existence. In the next stages, we'll see about the MOS transistors. Thank you.